100% what you just said is so spot on. You're doing nothing with LinkedIn, but you're missing out. It's, for me, probably the number one traffic driver and conversion platform, because the decision makers are on it. And this is, I want to make the masterclass very practical, and we're jumping onto LinkedIn in just a second. But I just want to give you some background as to why LinkedIn is a really good platform, because nobody wakes up and says, you know what, I need to build my brand on LinkedIn. This is the last platform most people are thinking of when it comes to that. However, it's honestly, for me, it has been the fastest platform to grow my brand. Initially my corporate career, and then also now my first business, and then my second business. I have never spent a single cent on advertisement. It's all organic. And this is also the power of it, because as we know, word out of mouth is still the most powerful way to do marketing. But now word out of mouth becomes word out of mouth, with technology being more connected and with people are talking to each other. And we're also trusting online sources of information more than companies directly. And if I want to give you a little test right away here, it's that Google yourself. If you haven't done it, has anyone done it before? Have you actually Googled your first name and your last name? Yep. What comes up? Let's type into chat. Yes. What comes up? What are the results? Me, my blog. That's excellent. So this is already a good indicator that you are owning your name. So that's good. My social media sites. Yeah. Former podcast. Yep. And this is, how social media or Google works. It gets the most trusted sources of information as the results, because how Google gets paid is the more accurate they are with their results, the more the better results they can get, and with that they can charge also with Google advertisement. Now, why I love LinkedIn so much is because it can work for you also when you are not super active on it, and we're all busy, so the less we have to do, the better it is. Pinterest, for example, is a massively underestimated search tool. Also, it's like Google and it's like YouTube, but more for images. Whereas LinkedIn is kind of the platform where you can find professionals for all the right reasons. Have you messaged the guys in the group, in the WhatsApp group, the link? I was just thinking we could actually do that if somebody has troubles to find it on Facebook.
Yeah, I just, hold on.
Oh, amazing.
I just did, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, guys. And this is why I love LinkedIn so much, because when people are searching for you on Google or the right keywords that you want to be found for, you can actually rank without necessarily having to have a website, because LinkedIn is seen as a trusted source of information. And what's the trusted source of information? It's all about having the right keywords, and LinkedIn is the platform that can be used for all the right keywords. And before we hop into the practical side of it, I'll go onto LinkedIn in just a second. These are the 3 interesting facts that I want you to consider to make it even more interesting to be on LinkedIn. 760 plus million professionals are on LinkedIn. It's still fairly small compared to, say, an Instagram platform. However, it has grown rapidly over the last 12 months, with everyone having to go online now. What's even more interesting is that 4 or 5 people and members on the platform are in decision-making positions, which means we can talk to the decision makers straight away without having to go through all the loops and hurdles that often can come with it, with the secretaries not letting us to talk to them. And I discovered LinkedIn when I was in recruitment. So it was all about getting to the hiring managers straight away, rather than having to go through a secretary or through a team member who is blocking, basically, because recruiters, they are relentless. It's very competitive, and they are usually blocking recruiters because they're too spammy and too salesy. But if you can establish a relationship, and we also talk about that prior to actually reaching out, you can have those one-on-one conversations already. And this is also the power on Instagram that we can direct message. LinkedIn is no different. It's just often a more senior professional that we can talk to, or we can find them for the right reasons. Not everyone puts their title or their company or their area of expertise on Instagram. With LinkedIn, it's the one and only way to actually have a profile there. And the last, really most compelling reason why you should consider LinkedIn is that only less than 3 million, which is less than a percent current, is proactively publishing content on LinkedIn, which makes the organic reach incredible. So even if you post twice a week, and I'll show you ways how you can do it in literally 10 minutes or less a week, you already rank, you're already getting seen. So the chances that you get results in the first months are super, super high. Now, I would be interested, are you guys quite active already on LinkedIn, or is it currently a little bit more a resume rather than a resource? Who is posting now already? Anyone?
I'm not.
But you've got your profile set up?
Not for my new business, which I'm launching through Passion.
Yes, excellent.
I'm more resume than
resource. Yes, profile set up, but not posting. Okay.
But I have known that I need to do more with it, which is why I'm so excited about this.
Yes. And I'll hop in the last slide that I want to show you is what we're going through. So the secret to success here is following those 3 steps. So first, we need to optimize your profile. And this is what I'll show you in a second, because this is the landing page. This is like Instagram, what is in the first 3 lines that sells us in or not. So how can we optimize that we can be found also on Google, but also if people are looking for people on LinkedIn, that we rank in the first couple of pages. Then what kind of content do we need to put out there to drive traffic to the profile? Because if we've got amazing content and they come to our profile, if there's this mismatch and people are like, huh, what? I don't understand what you're doing. They're bouncing off straight away. And then lastly is how can we be proactive with relationship building and extending our network, not just with numbers, but with the right people there. Okay, let me hop over onto LinkedIn. And also, guys, if you've got any questions, please feel free to hop in anytime. Because as I said, I want to make it super practical that everyone can get out a lot from it. Can you guys still see my screen? Because
Oh no, the sharing stopped. Are you on gallery share split screen?
My thing stopped working. Okay, we are back. We are back in business. There we go. All right. Now, the first thing that we want to do, and you can either work with me or you can watch the recording later and do it afterwards. The first thing, it's the tiniest little detail, but I think it makes all the difference. And this is your own profile URL. So you see my link is my name, but default is your name plus a random number and letter combination. And it looks quite unprofessional when you say Petrosync 123 ABCD. What you do is here, edit public profile and URL. And a little tip, what also helps with your overall online presence is that you've got the same profile name across all channels, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it might be. Because when somebody Googles you, when you already have kind of some relationship or contact, and they Google you, you come up and you own your name. So you can even take control over that even better. Now, if your name is very common, you can do an underscore, or you can add your middle name. So that's the easiest way to just customize your URL. And as I said, when you are in on your own profile, on your own homepage, this is where you would do it. Now, what we see on our profile is that we've got those blue pencils. That means it can be edited, and everything that can be edited should be edited. Because what the goal is for our profile is to achieve what's called an all-star profile. This dashboard is only visible to you, and it changes. But it's a good indication, and I would suggest to do it at least, every 2 or 3 days to see who's viewed your profile, but also search appearances. So the post views give you an indication if it works well or it doesn't. Sometimes I've got 20,000 views, sometimes I've got a few hundred views. I can also see what resonates and what isn't. Interesting with the search appearances is also to check, am I on the right track with my keywords? So what you can see, and I'm not sure if you've tried it before, is how many times you've come up in the last week. It's always weekly. Where do those people work? So a lot of universities are checking me out at the moment, which is not bad. What do our searchers do? So am I targeting the right audience? And for me, it's bang on. It's exactly who I want to talk to. So that's a good sign. And then also, are your keywords aligned with what they are searching for? So personal consultant, marketing specialist, team lead, coach, educator. So I'm not unhappy with any of them. Not everyone, hardly anyone, searches for a personal brand coach. It's not a thing. But they're looking for something that's relevant to them. It could be marketing. It's often associated with branding. It could be also team lead because I work with companies. Coach is not a bad word either. Educator is great because I'm also teaching. So this is already a bit of an indication if your profile is on the right track with what you stand for. Now let's go back. And I said, guys, if anything doesn't make sense or you've got a specific questions, just jump in anytime. Now, to achieve this all-star profile, and that all only means that your profile is optimized for search. So users who've got this all-star accreditation, their results get shown preferably to those who are searching for what you're ready for what people are looking for. Interesting case study. In January or in December, actually last year, Microsoft reached out to me. I'm originally from Austria, but have been in Australia for next month. It's going to be 11 years. How they found me was personal brand and Vienna. As I said, I haven't been in Vienna for 11 years, but because my education, I went to uni in Vienna, came up in their search, their engagements, she literally said there was no other person who does personal branding and is from Austria. So they hired me, even though I'm now in Australia. But this is the power of LinkedIn. It is a search engine. And the more information, the more keywords you put into your profile, the better the chances that you get found. Now, there are a few aspects that are more important than others. So to get also the all-star profile is that you optimize this part here. So how we do it, we go into this little pencil, we put our name there. That's also a really cool feature. You can record your name, but it's 10 seconds long. So what you can do is also, instead of, hi, my name is Petra Sink, it's a bit boring. You can say, I'm working with corporate professionals and help build and monetize their personal brand. So all of a sudden, it's more of an introduction, what are the results that you can bring. And people are listening to that. And voice is such a powerful way to build a relationship and trust. So don't waste this opportunity of 10 seconds, which is actually fairly long, to just say your name. I'm not choosing the pronouns. They've only released it a few weeks ago. I don't necessarily need it for myself, but it's a preference that you want to select for yourself. Now the headline, it is automated or selected as your company title and your company name, consultant at company XYZ. But this is, again, a missed opportunity for you to rank for the right keywords. Now, what options you've got? You can either say, working with coaches to build profitable businesses. But then I would also add, how do you do it? Consulting, coaching, speaking, or something like that. This is why I've put in those keywords, because that helps to rank higher straight away and people associate with it. It building a brand comes all down to repeatedness, hearing repeatedly what you're doing and how you do things. So this is why I've put in there what I'm doing, what's the end result, and how I'm doing it. Ideally, you also repeat yourself when you say, I want to be known for leadership coaching, training leaders to build high-performing teams, leadership management. So even though it's the same, you discuss it from a different angle, and that's really powerful. And then one more thing that I want to stress here is it's such a tiny thing, but it can make a big difference. So I'm not directly living in the city, but this is the postcode from the CBD. Because what people are doing, thinking about their keywords that they're searching, is they would look for a trainer in Brisbane, my biggest city. I'm not putting my postcode in from a suburb that I'm living in. So also where you live, put in the postcode from the next biggest city, because people wouldn't look for, they would look for a leadership coach in Texas and not in a tiny little suburb outside of Texas. Does that all make sense so far?
Yeah.
So the headline is kind of what anyone might search for. You're trying to put kind of what anyone might search for.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And it can be, I also recommend to have a similar, if not the same profile headline that you've got on Instagram or on Facebook. The audience might be a little bit different, but it's all about the repeated message and the consistency of it. A little hack here, if you run out of characters and they've actually increased the characters already, go on your mobile app and you can add more characters on your mobile app than you can do on your web browser, which is pretty funny. Okay, thanks. Okay. Come on. Okay. There we go. All right. Also the background, I've just created that on Canva. Easy. Ideally, you've got something either personal in terms of photos that you want to stand for. If you want to be known for a speaker and you've got a really cool photo as a speaker with a big audience, put that up there. I chose 3 different ones in action. So I want to be known as a podcast host, which, also is down here. I do a lot of online trainings, and I'm also teaching a lot and running workshops. At the same time, I also have my headline that is the same I've got on the website. So it's all about how can we create this consistent customer experience if they come on different platforms. Because what we want to do is we want to use social media, any platform, and draw them into our universe, which means our website, where we can then capture proper leads. I'm not sure if you have seen it, but LinkedIn also launched what's called the creator mode. There are a few changes to it. This one, for example, so you've seen before I had a video. We can now record a 30 seconds introduction video to explain who we are, what we do. And if somebody comes to our profile, they can actually watch that. Makes it again more personal. The other change that LinkedIn Creator Mode does is you can add topics that you're talking about. Again, those keywords are searchable. When people are looking for somebody specialized in future of work, they would come onto my profile. But it also helps them already to understand if I'm the right person for them for what they're looking for. So you can select up to 5 topics. And I would prefer or recommend to have that aligned with your content pillars. What are those 3 or 5 topics that you talk about all the time? Keep it fairly broad, however, rather than saying Petra talks branding. Nobody searches for that term. But personal branding or branding or something like that, that's more aligned with what people are searching for. All right. Also, in terms of profile photo, again, it's all about consistency. So if you can use the same profile photo across all platforms, it makes it easier for people to recognize you and then remember you. What you as business can also do, but we can also use it as a corporate professional, is to say, what services are we providing? So if people are searching for a certain service already or area of expertise, we would come up. So that's also pretty cool. If you haven't activated the creator mode, you would see it in your dashboard. So it's been rolled out gradually worldwide, so you don't have to apply anything for it. It's rolled out already, but we need to turn it on, and we need to take a couple of steps. So it's not hard at all. I've got a guide where I literally took screenshots how I activated it. It's very easy. Also with the video recording, if you're not happy, you can just delete it. What's important though, when you do record the video, is that you keep it in portrait mode. I initially, just from habit, turn it around and did it landscape, but it doesn't look any good because people are searching or going through the content on their phones mainly. So it needs to be optimized for that. All right, going down a little bit. And again, if you've got questions, hop in anytime. The featured section, or by the way, if you haven't built your profile, you wouldn't have all those sections. So how we do it is we say add section. And this is where we can add the about me. This is an important part, the featured section, the work experience, and all of that. So you just add those blocks, and eventually it should look like that it's a consistent feed and there's a lot of information, because each of those blocks give us the opportunity for keywords. And this is what it, again, all comes down to. Okay. Now in the featured section, it used to be, and they've changed the UI probably nearly a year now. In the featured section, you've got the opportunity to use alternative media. So it could be, I'm in the Forbes Coaching Council, so I write for them. LinkedIn is still more the credibility side and more showcasing your professional expertise rather than your personal side. I'll talk about that in the content in just a second, but people are on LinkedIn for a different reason than they would be on Instagram. They are looking more for what's news in the industry, what are the movers and shakers doing, are there new products or services, or what would be a tip on how to get better in area of expertise, whatever that might be, in leadership, in LinkedIn, in copywriting. This is what LinkedIn is used for the most. So I'm focusing more on content that educates rather than inspires or gives away a lot about my personality. Every now and then, of course, I do it because it gets incredible engagement, but it's not necessarily what people come there for. So you can build your credibility really well and also use it for, again, search optimization. And the good thing is what we can do here, we can select different media. So it used to be only LinkedIn articles, but now we can also link, Forbes, for example, it's a different website. We can do that. We can upload media. We can pin, basically, well-performing LinkedIn posts. So because LinkedIn, I always say it's my platform of choice, I want to see that, I want to give people my backstory, what LinkedIn actually did for me. And because that's such a well-performing post, I pinned that there. So you can see, you can add whatever it might be. It's a good way to just give people a little bit of an overview. It's similar to Instagram stories. So you can get people a bit of a path and a journey, what you actually stand for. Okay, that's your activity. And now we are in the about section. And this is what we want to leverage as our landing page, our social media landing page. It follows the same copywriting principles like a normal website. So instead of saying, my name is Petra Sink, personal branding strategist, nobody cares. How we can get people's attention is by adding a quote, a statistic, a question, a dramatic statement. I was fired, or something like that. Did you know 98% of startups fail? the number one reason why teams aren't performing is conflict. I help companies solve conflict for maximized performance, or whatever it might be. And then we go into our own story. What has worked for me, honestly, like a trade, is adding this part here. It's a freebie. So how can we get people straight into our universe rather than having to scroll down all the way? And if you've got a download, if you've got a free masterclass, whatever it might be, I would add that fairly high straight away. And then what works well is to tell your backstory. So how did you land on what you're doing now? And what are your beliefs? Because you don't just want to use it as a resume, you actually want to use that storytelling part, and probably also work with Cynthia on that. What is your story? How can you craft a more compelling statement that people say, oh my God, she or he knows what they're talking about, and I even like them because of what they've gone through. All right, have you got questions so far? I can talk a lot, so please stop me anytime.
Just fabulous information, Petra. Thank you.
Oh, excellent.
Actually, I have a question.
Please.
So when I first started, I'm moving my computer back, and so you can see my fake brick wall. When I first started, my Susie Miller is a very common name. So I was very, very fortunate, blessed to get susiemiller.com. But when I went on social media, Susie Miller was taken by some MySpace kid ages ago. So one of the things I did at the time was added the number 5, because I have 5 pillars in my work. At the time, I had 5 people in my family, and that was, there were 5 of us. And so I tend to do like, my frameworks are 5. Somebody has told me I should change that, but I'm known so much now as Susie Miller 5. The only place I don't have it is Clubhouse, and I might add it there. But across all my platforms is Susie Miller 5. As long as I'm talking about one of my main articles, the 5 platforms or pillars of, do you think that's okay? Or do you think I really need to look into moving that to something other qualifier?
No, I think because that's also, numbers are actually quite powerful with names. Arrow 404, okay. Route 66. So if that's what you want to be known for, that's actually perfect. And it's so easy to remember too, Susie Miller 5.
Okay.
Totally. Own it.
Thank you. Own it.
Own it.
Yeah.
I actually have a similar issue, except that in my case, it's another Deb Shannon on LinkedIn who's a coach and a consultant. It's like the same name, the same, she's in Vermont somewhere, but I have Deborah, but I don't really go by Deborah, so what do you do?
Is it Debbie? Is she Debbie Shannon or Deb Shannon?
Deb, I believe.
And Debbie Shannon's taken?
Yeah,
Debbie Shannon's taken too. Therapist.
So if we...
Deborah Shannon. Yeah. It's a tough one.
I don't know which one she is. She when I do a Google search, she pops up right underneath me in Google. Her LinkedIn pops right under my LinkedIn. There she is.
This one?
Deborah Shannon, Portland, Maine. Yeah. CEO at Deb Shannon Coaching and Consulting.
This is why. That's double enforcement for it. And you've got only Shannon, there's only one component to the 100% of it.
Yeah, so.
Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I could never do Miller Consulting. I mean, that was crazy. So, yeah. I mean, there's Miller Media, Miller Consulting. I mean, they got them all. So that's part of why I started my whole different company now, because of that same thing. She, her, hers. What are your thoughts about the personal pronouns? They're such a cultural thing right now.
Well, because it's not my audience, I don't need it. But I know, especially, culture and diversity advocates, they're very much honing in on it. And it's also younger generations, they all have it. But for me, it's not relevant as such, so I'm not using it. Okay. But it's a personal preference. And, especially with foreign names, it helps a lot that we know what kind of gender it is. It does. Now, what I would also highly recommend here in this section is having a call to action down here. What is the next step? What are ways for you to be contactable? What do you want people to do? So do you want to book a meeting, for example? Do you want to call? Do you want to send an email? Whatever it might be. A little hack here is this part here, the About Me section, is a very personal area. But this is what makes it easy for people to remember you and make easy connections. This is also what I'm looking for in other people's profile when I'm connecting with them, saying, oh, you're also, for example, I put in very specific brand for a bike that's mostly known for triathletes, because I used to do triathlons for a long time. The people say, oh, I see you're also in triathlon. What was the last race that you did? Has nothing to do with my profession, but it helps to break the ice, to build a relationship from a personal level, find common ground, and then the business conversation is so much easier and quicker. So if you've got a couple of quirky characteristics that you can put in there, go for it.
Is that true? You exercise at 3:15 a.m.?
Yeah, yesterday I had to get up at 1:17. I've got odd times that I get up because I had an interview, a LinkedIn live at 2 a.m. and I had to get, makeup and all of that happening.
Wow.
But yeah, I get up at 2:30, between 2:30 and 3.
Wow. All right.
And, again, it can be a conversation starter that people say, oh my God, you're weird. But what we're having is a one-on-one conversation. And this is what we know is where the conversions happen.
Yeah, caught my attention.
There you go. So anything that makes you memorable and a little bit stand out is a good thing. And because hardly anyone does it, everyone is so professional on LinkedIn, you stand out even quicker. What I highly, highly, highly recommend is repeat yourself as much as you can. It sounds weird, but it's, again, those keywords. So when you see, I've got 2 different businesses. I define how I'm doing things, then where they can go, and what they can do. So the deliverables. Because if somebody says, I want an executive retreat, I've got those keywords in there. What I'm then again repeating in my experience section is exactly that. So how can we get the same information in multiple times that we rank higher? And this is why you want to build a super comprehensive and a completed profile that you rank higher. Here is a little tip. So you see, I've got bold and italics. You actually can't do it on LinkedIn. I'm not sure if you're using it on other platforms, but fancy font is the go-to, which is Cool Symbols, it's now called. So when we say, test, we can see different fonts that stand out, bold and all of those things. And we just copy that and put it in here. So I wouldn't overuse it, because then it doesn't make an impact anymore. But for keywords that you want to highlight, definitely go for it. So I do it with my companies. I do it for the word that I want to, be found for.
What site was that again?
This is called coolsymbol.com. So even when you type in fancy font, you will see quite a few different sites that you can do it. Just put it here in the chat too. And I also have it in my headline. I've heard, however, that it can't be picked up by crawlers. So it actually doesn't help with search engine optimization, because it is a different code and it's not an actual word. But I'll take the risk. This is why just a couple of words that you want to highlight. Okay, then we've got the about section. Again, this is where you can say, what can we do with you? How can we get in touch? If you're interested to talk all things, or if you want to upskill yourself or your team, get in touch over at blah, blah, blah. So any kind of call to action, similar with social media content, we want to add that here. Then the experience. Now, this is a funny thing. So when you have a look in my profile, I've got, present 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 active roles. I don't work in all those roles full time. So obviously on a board, I'm not sitting there 40 hours. I'm also not teaching at universities full time, but it doesn't matter. What it helps us to build those blogs to have the same or similar keywords that we want to be found for in different reasons. So if you are volunteering on a charity, for example, put it in there, because it also shows your interests. And this is how we build our perception around somebody. What are they interested in? What are they involved in? What else are they doing? And because, I'm on 2 boards and they're non-for-profit boards, doesn't matter. If somebody looks for a board director, and I've had quite a few inquiries, I would come up. It's not my priority because, I don't, but it's all about creating opportunities, so why not? This part here, am I working for Forbes? No, I'm contributing. And even if I'm publishing 1 article a month, 1 every 6 months, it doesn't matter. You want to put it in there. Gain credibility. Is like, oh, she's there and she does that. Now I am also hosting my own events. Doesn't matter. Even if it's once every 6 months, put it in there. So use those sections to build credibility and also showcase your diversity. On Instagram, we can't necessarily show it in that aspect because it can be confusing if you're talking about too many different things. Whereas on LinkedIn, it actually helps you to come up for all those search results. And then the last couple of parts that I want to talk to is skills and endorsements. So this part here is again prime SEO keyword territory. What it does is when you set up your profile based on the experience and the current role that you're in, they collect or select their keywords based on that. They may be right, they may be wrong, but you can control that. So again, we've got our little pencil, we want to use it. What do we want to be known for and also easily endorsed for? And we can, add that. We can also change what I want to be known for first. We can all do all of that. So save. And we can say add a new skill. So you can add up to 30 skills, but no, I think 50 even, 30 or 50, I can't even remember. Don't use all of them because how realistic is it that we are incredibly skilled in 50 different ways? It's not realistic. So, research. Yeah, I'm doing research. Do I want to be known for a researcher? God, no. So what you do is you just type in, any name. Oh, come on. Got my little zoom bar here. There we go. We say leadership, and then you see education leadership, organizational leadership. So they give you quite a few of options already, what you can select. And again, use that. Technical leadership, change management, thought leadership, executive leadership. So I'm talking about the same topic, leadership, but from different aspects. And then finally, this is the social proof for us. This is also a good way to stay connected and to see what people are saying, what kind of words would they use when they would describe you and your services and the experience with you. The easiest way to get recommendations is obviously to give recommendations first. And I would start with that because, when I was still in recruitment and especially for senior leadership roles, but also when I looked for speakers, I always had to look what other people said about them. And this is our social currency. What do other people say about us? So ask for recommendations and personalize it. So say anyone. So we can say she was a client of ours, our current role, and this is why you want to add all your roles, not just the current roles, but also previous roles, because then you expand your network straight away. rather than saying, hey, could you write me a recommendation? Very boring. You want to say, I really enjoyed working with you on project XYZ. It would mean the world to me if you can write me a short feedback or recommendation on my communications and project management skills. So very descriptive what you actually want to be endorsed for.
The recommendations, that's totally separate from the endorsements?
Yes. So the the endorsements is the same. So this is the recommendation section. This
Well,
is
you're saying,
the endorsement is more for actual skills. So when marketing, for example, it's a skill, but it doesn't say how good I am. Everyone can just say, yeah, very skilled. Doesn't say anything. Whereas if we put a name towards that and have a specific problem or a project called out, how we work together, that adds credibility. And you can also,
are you asking people are you reaching out to people and saying, can you endorse me and write a recommendation?
Just recommendations, because yeah, because that's what people do automatically anyway. And this is also a good way for you to connect with others when you endorse them. So the law of reciprocity, we endorse them first. Highly likely we say, who is this person? We check out their profile. And this is why the profile optimization is the first part that we need to look at, if they can actually find the right information about us. And it's so quick. You literally just click a couple of buttons and that's it. Now, this part here is also what you can use for your website. So you've got double social proof. And rather than saying, I'm known for the best leadership coaching, this is what others say about me. Or others have said that my strategic questioning is exactly what gets them the results, whatever it might be. So you can also refer back to that. All right. Do we have any questions on the profile as such?
Understand that last part. You're going to go back down to where you were. You're doing what there? You're talking about your website there, or accomplishments?
No, I use quite a few of the same recommendations on my website.
Oh, okay. For
social proof.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. Because not everyone goes onto your website, but also not everyone on your website connects with you on LinkedIn.
But you can't move your testimonials from your website to LinkedIn. It actually has to come through LinkedIn. No,
you don't. You can also, sorry. Yes, you have to.
Okay, it has to come through recommendations. All right.
Yes, which is why I start always on LinkedIn to give a recommendation rather than through my website or through a Google form or whatever, because I found that hardly anyone does it. Whereas on LinkedIn, because it's easy, they are already on there, they do it.
Thank you.
No worries. All right. Okay, maybe the last part in terms of the actual profile section, you see I've also added media in each of my roles. So what you can do is when you edit the profile section is you can add media. That could be links, photos, videos, presentations. So it could even be your sales pitch or your proposal, for example. And people can download it. It could be, when I was still in recruitment, I always told my candidates that you need to upload their resume, because as a recruiter, it all comes down to speed of implementation. How quickly can I shortlist somebody? If I can download their profile or their resume already from LinkedIn, I don't have to wait for them to get back to me and so forth. So it's a good way to just fast track anyone's results with you. Okay, so again, all star, this is what we want to achieve, which means we need to tick, it's actually 10 boxes that we need to tick. It's having a profile photo, having a background, a tailored background, having a completed headline, having an about me section, this part here, having 50 plus connections, which I think everyone will have already, It also used to be having at least 2 LinkedIn articles, but it's not as dominant anymore because the featured section has actually taken over. Having skills optimized down here all the way, recommendations, and also education, because the more you complete your profile, the more suggestions for connections you get. And this is exactly what we want to do. We want to build our network on LinkedIn. Network is our net worth. Diverse network is our next career and job opportunity, because you don't know who works with another company or who gets a role where they are in a decision-making position again. Okay, now, how we can actually optimize our feed. So many people saying, oh, I just see spam on my feed. And that comes down to not engaging and not training your algorithm. Depending on what we like, what we share, what we comment on, we get shown more, because this is showing LinkedIn that we are interested in that. And the longer we stay on the platform, the more they can charge to companies for advertisement. One of the best ways to do it is to follow hashtags. They rolled it out about a year ago when we say we are interested in, say, leadership. Leadership development, maybe. Okay, we've got 390,000 followers. So anyone who uses leadership development in their caption, in their post, I see it. So even though I'm not connected with Bobby, it's the third connection. Just because he shared a post with leadership from another company page, I still see him. So what it does is it helps us identifying people who are already interested in our topic and what we want to be found for. So it helps us to build our brand when we use it in our own captions. And this is also connected to the content creator function, that we use the same hashtags underneath our profile in our captions and connect with people who are already interested in that topic. And we just say following. So this is how I'm following. You also see down here on the left side which hashtags you're following already. Are they still relevant? Do you see good results from that? And the more you train your algorithm doing it, the better the feed and the experience will be. What you can also do is say, you know what, Kelly just always shares crappy stuff. I'm going to unfollow her. Or I can also block it. So I might not unfollow her, but I'm blocking it. And the more I'm doing it, the more it tells LinkedIn what I'm interested in and what I want to see more of and less of. And you only need to do it, honestly, 5 to 10 minutes a day, if that. You will see a difference in your feed in the first couple of weeks. That's how quickly it actually goes. Okay, we've got a couple more minutes. I also want to quickly discuss some content options, because in the end, this is a traffic driver. One of the most effective ways to create a quick post is using polls. Now, I love them in 2 ways, and they work in a couple of ways. So we can say, what's more important in leadership? Then we can say, education, empathy, or whatever it might be. We can let it run for, I usually do it for a week, that we get some good traction, but you can also just do it for a couple of days and whatever it might be. Done. And this is what it would look like. So I would say, I want, the future of work, leadership capabilities look different than it was in the 80s. What do you think is most important moving forward? So I give a little bit context, but not too much. And then I go in there. Now, what it does, once the poll closes, it shows you the results. So you don't only have one post, but you can repurpose the results now for a second post. And the most important part here is that you get insights in what people are thinking and also struggling with, for example, but then you can use this as an excuse to reach out to people. Thank you so much for participating in my survey. I see empathy is the most important skill set for you in leadership. I'm curious, what are you working on at the moment, or whatever it might be. So you can use that as an excuse to slide in their DMs, as we call it on Instagram. And people love to see those results. And you could see it took me 30 seconds to set that up. Once if we say, you know, for me, it's a Wednesday usually where I create posts, because on Thursday I'm promoting, and my Thursday posts, they're always slow because nobody wants to be sold to or see promotions. But at the same time, we need that kind of content too, that people see what we can actually do for them. So don't be shy to always promote. But I get a high with the conversation and the engagement piece to then get a low. And then on Friday, I usually post something lighthearted, which means a photo of me saying the week it was, the reflection of the week, the learnings from this week, anything that's more personal. So I can combat that up and down, and I'm expecting already on a Thursday when I'm promoting a photo shoot that we're doing, or a download even, that the engagement tanks, but I'll bring it back up again. And because it also goes so quickly, I could literally, I mean, there are probably no polls when I want to see one, but it takes me a click and I'm already done with it. So people are doing it. And given about close to 60% of content on LinkedIn is now also searched or consumed on your phone, there are actually two algorithms. One is on the phone and one is on the desktop. Because it's so easy to engage with on your phone, you will see more polls than on your desktop feed. So we can capture people when they're on the go and out and about and get in touch with them. Another mobile-only feature is stories. Has anyone of you guys used stories already? No, I always repurpose, to be honest, my Instagram anyway. Just let me have a quick open up. So here you can see up there is the little plus button. So when we click it, these are my stories, totally. And you can talk. So I'm actually never posting a video because I usually don't put on makeup or anything like that, and my production is not very good. But on stories, it doesn't matter. It goes away in 24 hours. And this is where people are actually building a relationship. And the good thing is I see who's actually watched my stories. Now, so many of those people are senior executives, and those people especially never, ever engage or post on their feed. But still, it doesn't matter. Also, when you get low engagement, it doesn't matter. It's all about still being seen. And, you know, some of my clients have never engaged in my content, but bought straight away a high ticket package. It's because we've built a relationship by them simply following what I'm doing. And this is the power of it. And even better on Instagram stories, because it's more casual, I also engage in other stories with a clap for a CEO or a fist bump. It can be more casual a conversation, and all of a sudden I'm already in their inbox. So it makes it much easier for them to say, hey, thanks so much. And, you know, we continue a conversation there. It's similar to Instagram stories, to be honest. It's just a different audience. All right. Have you got any questions on anything so far?
Petra, I took pages and pages of notes. I'm going to rewatch the replay. It was so good. I have to run here, but I wanted to thank you for this. It's incredible. I'm going to post in the group for everybody to go back in and do it. And it actually inspires me to want to go get my Instagram up and doing better, because my Instagram is not Instagram. My LinkedIn is very lame. I have a lame LinkedIn. I don't even think I have the picture at the top done right. And so this is so inspiring and so helpful with actionable tips, but also the education as to why it should be done. So I just want to say thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. I'll share a checklist that you can go through. Have I done this? Have I done that? Because especially, perfect, as you said, the background, it's your selling point. It's your real estate for your marketing message. Use it. Images plus words.
Did you make yours on Canva?
I live on Canva. Absolutely. I can also share a template, because the Canva templates with the size, they're wrong. So I'll share that.
You know what? That's why I don't have mine, because I went on Canva to make one and the template was wrong and it looked bad and I got discouraged and I was like, and so it doesn't, but thank you. I'd prefer, you have my email, so I'd appreciate that.
Easy. I'll do that. Thank you so much for
I'll
coming,
put my email in
Susie.
here, but thank you. This is how much I was excited about this. I'm going to give you my email here. I moved a client so I could be here.
You're the best.
It was excellent. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, Susie. I'll message you. All right, guys. Have you got any other questions?
Yeah. So what would you say overall kind of is your content strategy for LinkedIn? How often are you posting? What type of posts? You know what I mean?
Well, to be honest, because I've been on LinkedIn is my main platform, I post a lot. But having said that, I don't post in real time. I mean, yes, I do the polls, and also because, hang on, I'm in a different browser. So I schedule everything. I did all of my August content already, a month ago, and I'm on to my September shortly. So I post 5 times a week. Having said that, if you do twice a week, more than enough.
Really?
And this is why, one poll and one educational post, and that's already what gets you results. So I'll quickly share this part here. So this is I use Buffer for it, because it's not as a visual platform as Instagram would be, for example. So you see, I post in the morning, and this is an important part. No way when your audience is online, even though it's a professional platform, people are not necessarily on the platform between 9 and 5. So I'm posting between 7 and 7:30. Has proven to be the best time. Sundays it's a little bit later because people are getting up a little bit later. Today I'm posting a carousel, so similar to a slideshow, or what's it called? A carousel on. Exactly. So multiple pages, and that actually has the best, what it's called, dwell time. I always get incredible results with it because people can follow a story, and it's usually also visually more engaging, and people stay there for longer. And this is again how LinkedIn or social media works. How can we keep people there for longer? If they have to click through to get to the 4th, 5th slide where I actually give value, it increases. So I'm showing it to more people, so I get more exposure. So this and the polls I post in lifetime. But having said that, I prepare for that earlier. So on Tuesday I also have always carousels, so I don't post in lifetime. But again, if you do twice a week, more than enough. If you do that, I would do a Tuesday and a Thursday. Mondays people are in meetings. It's often not the time where they are on Instagram, LinkedIn. Saturdays is also a dead day, I've found. Sundays, however, because people are preparing for the week ahead, I tap in emotionally. I tell my story. I'm a little bit more casual, because people are in a more casual mood also. So we want to capture where they are right now. Monday, I'm trying to get to the end of the week as quickly as I can. I don't have the time to engage on LinkedIn as much. Tuesday to Thursdays are the best performing days.
Okay. So carousel, are you repurposing like the same stuff you put on a carousel on Instagram here?
Yeah, absolutely. What we need to consider though is that you need to download the images as a PDF and not as a JPEG. And how you upload it is add a document, choose file, social posts.
You said it's got to be a PDF.
The PDF or a Word document actually works also. So you see, and I would also add the document title. So message for personal brands. So I would literally call out the things. Then I'm posting it now and I'm deleting in a second straight away that you see what it is. So this is the slideshow.
Right. Okay.
So just delete that.
So it's called a slideshow on LinkedIn, or it's just called a document? What's it called?
Add a document.
Add a document. Okay.
Yeah. And PDF or Word. But again, make it also still visually appealing like we do on Instagram, because hardly anyone does it yet. Some literally upload a full blown written document. Nobody reads that stuff. And if you have good branding and a good visual layout, people love it.
Okay. So I coach men to be the most powerful, confident version of themselves. So I don't specifically offer business services, but my clients would work in companies, so do you see LinkedIn being a good place for me or no?
Oh, yes. Actually, show you Greg. He's completely changed his career. I knew him from my recruitment background in sales. So he was completely different. And what he does now, helping CEOs, business leaders access to unlimited potential. He gets incredible engagements. So I would recommend, because that would be your audience, those CEOs and so forth.
Right.
He gets good engagement, as I said. Go on the post. And this is how we can all find contexts that are relevant to us. See who has liked it. And get in touch with them. See what their comments are. And see what they're already saying. I mean, and this is a little bit of a hack there too. LinkedIn doesn't discriminate against you commenting on your own post or somebody else. They just count it as a comment. And the more comments, the more engagement. See what he also does, he puts the link in the captions. So he doesn't have a link here because LinkedIn wants you to stay there. So when we put a link in the feed, it takes us away from it. And LinkedIn is like, I'm not showing your post to many people. So never put a link in the actual post.
Okay.
Having said that, I found a little hack how you can do it. You post something and then go back, edit it, and then add the link. So it's a double-step process that works. But as I said, put it in the comments and it will be fine.
In the comments, okay.
And yeah, always connect with those people. This is why our connections need to be a mix of peers who are similar to us, because they already cultivate also an audience that we can tap into. Then also decision makers who are actually the ones who we want to work with, our clients, and also industry authorities. So for me, it's the World Economic Forum, for example, that I gain the insights and their research and all of that straight away, firsthand. But I'm also following, companies. So how you would do it, say Accenture, for example, if you want to work with those kind of companies, I'm following them already. Whenever they post something from their LinkedIn page, it comes up in my feed. If they advertise a position, any news, basically, I can engage with them and see who else has posted it.
Okay. I noticed that on your profile, you had connections and followers. Is that, where are the followers coming from?
So the followers, Alexis, I'm not connected, but she's activated the content creator mode. So I can follow her. We're not necessarily connected. However, I can go into more and say, hey, Alexis, love what you do. Personal message, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so follow, then you'll just get her content in your feed.
Exactly, yes.
Right.
And this is what, I don't think that LinkedIn actually nailed it with the content creator mode. They said, we want to build up creators. And you do it by building up a following rather than connections. And you also max out with 30,000 connections on LinkedIn. Even though you think it's a lot, it's actually not that much. And if you connect it to the wrong people, you need to manually go through it and disconnect to then reconnect with new people. And this is where the following comes in. People can just follow you. And you can also, if you go onto your settings here, you can also select that as a default, that people can only follow you rather than connect with you. But as I said, there's the workaround that you go into the more button and you can still good. He's got connection as a default option, but we can always go into the more and then connect with this person.
So it's a good idea to have follow as the default, or?
It's a recommendation.
Okay.
But again, it's all about being in front of the audience, being top of mind. And so yeah, I've got 16,700 followers, and then connections, it's a little bit less, which is not a bad thing.
Okay.
And then maybe one more thing on LinkedIn, because it's all about the personal connection request rather than saying, hey, I would like to add you to my network, which is the default. When you are on your mobile app, however, when you click on connect, it doesn't give you the option to actually send a personalized message. So we need to make the effort and say the 3 dots, personalized message, personalized invite. Because otherwise they just say Petrosync wants to connect with you, and they highly likely won't, because there's no context. Also from a content point of view, content without context is spam. I say, hey, we are in the same LinkedIn group for IT professionals, would love to connect. There's a little bit of a connection or a reason to connect already.
And so for the content, you said you do carousels or the same type of slideshow, the polls, and do you do any video posts? Or
I should, but I don't. So when you go onto my activity, and the good thing is also you don't necessarily always need to post yourself. Content also, you also create content by commenting on other people, and this is often more powerful. That could be literally your content strategy for LinkedIn. When you say it's a really thanks so much, Susie, it's a really great content, and you add some complementary insights, for example, because you get in front of their audience already. So I don't always need to post myself to get seen, and this is how you increase your visibility so quickly. You follow the right hashtags, and then you comment on those posts, especially those high performing posts, on other people's content or comments. And then we say, who is this person? Then they come onto your profile, and then you connect with them. You can also see the split between your activity. So how much are you engaging in others, and how much are you posting? So you can then.
So what's the difference between the article and the post?
So post is on the feed, it's short form. They also increased it to now 3,000 characters with 3,000. Yeah, so quite a long. The articles is long form post. So, I haven't done one in a while because it's not as relevant anymore as it used to be. Having said that, I will go back. I will repurpose my blog posts and also put them on LinkedIn, simply because of the keywords. I'm not expecting much engagement because people are not necessarily reading articles anymore on LinkedIn.
Attention spans are shorter.
Exactly. However, a post, I just scroll through much better. And I'm also experimenting with different things. And you see how many views that gets, and simply because people are there for longer, it gets much more traction. There's a promotion, never gets any engagement. This, however, is a good one because it forced, and it also gets people to come back. I've posted that 3 days ago, and I'm still getting engagement now. It doesn't go away in 24 hours as it is on Instagram.
Okay.
So yeah.
But you think video posts would do well on?
Yeah, just make sure it has subtitles, because hardly anyone actually listens to it.
Right.
Because they're a commuter in the office, and also keep it short. So a 1-2 minutes video is perfect. The attention span after 30 seconds already goes into nowhere's land.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions?
No, well, not that I can think of. It just kind of what you said, it just seems like because there's so much less content being posted, there's more opportunity perhaps. on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. And again, it works also when you're not active because of the keywords that are in your profile. And this is what I love so much about it. So please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or also in the Facebook group if you've got any specific questions on your own profile, and always happy to jump in. I will share my checklist that you can also go through and just tick off the boxes what we've discussed. I'll just stop sharing for a second. And yeah, make the most out of LinkedIn.
Okay. Thank you so much for the class. It's great.
Thank you for coming.